Little note to self, make sure next time when you're here with the doggy and mommy's not home, try and give the doggy some treats when you get ready to record. Otherwise, the doggy is going to crash the video and try to take the video over. Do you mind? The people want to hear me talk about the 2012 Royal Rumble, so would you mind just sitting still? I'd appreciate that. Thank you, Summer. All right, so the 2012 Royal Rumble. To me, this is a show that is, frankly, largely forgettable now, minus the Rumble match, which back 2 years ago, we can probably all remember, had a very controversial finish, at least amongst the internet community, in terms of who actually won the Royal Rumble match itself. So, your show kicked off with a triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship inside of a steel cage. Daniel Bryan, Big Show, and Mark Henry. And this is the only way we're going to be able to have a heel champion like Daniel Bryan be able to win his belt, keep his belt, facing off with both a Big Show and a Mark Henry. I mean, let's really face it. That was the only way it was going to happen. And this was at a time where I thought the WWE was not doing good stuff with Daniel Bryan. I thought they were doing a terrible job of making him just another standard cookie-cutter chicken shit heel, especially as a world champion. This is going back onto his Money in the Bank win in 2011, and him sit there, he was going to cash it in at WrestleMania, so of course he didn't. I understand situations changed and everything, but to me, this was an example of trying to get people to boo Daniel Bryan when they wanted to cheer Daniel Bryan. Turning him heel for the sake of turning him heel, and when in doubt, heel him out, does not always apply. Especially if you want to make a guy heel, have him wear a suit. And you just never really wanted to do that with Daniel Bryan, it seems like. I just was never a fan of this direction with Daniel Bryan, and I would hope now that a lot of Daniel Bryan fans looking at where he's at in 2014 would say that they didn't like this part of Daniel Bryan's run in 2011, 2012 very much either. I just didn't. I was not a huge fan of this match for obvious reasons. Yeah, you remember those obvious reasons. You remember him. Yeah, we were very big Mark Henry fans, so I was very disappointed to not see Mark Henry win his belt back. To me, it still should have been Sheamus versus Mark Henry for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 28. I think that's what the people wanted to see, especially when you look at who actually won the Rumble that night. You know what I mean? But, one of those things where you got a better than you would usually get opening match on a pay-per-view because of the Rumble, because you don't have that many matches, so it tends to lead to a little bit of higher quality in your opening match, but I didn't care for the direction of the Daniel Bryan character. Frankly, didn't really care for this type of match because to me it made Daniel Bryan look like a cookie-cutter chicken shit heel. Then you had an 8 Divas tag match, which is largely forgettable to me, so we'll move on. Yeah, Summer doesn't want to talk about it. She just wants to try and get the boogies out of my nose, apparently. Then we get right to the middle of the show, which featured John Cena taking on Kane. This was the perfect epitome of, we've been spending all this time since the night after WrestleMania 27, building up to Cena versus Rock. And that's his match at Mania. We know this. We're not going to have Rock win the belt before Mania 28. So we really are stuck in a pickle and a predicament here because we don't really have anything for John Cena to do in the couple months leading up to WrestleMania 28. So they just kind of threw together this feud with Kane, and it's just dumb looking back on it for so many different levels. You go there with the friendship with Cena and Ryder, and this seemed to me to do nothing other than eventually lead to the complete and utter burial of Zack Ryder. I found it funny when I saw on Twitter today Zack Ryder talk about he got some new gear. New gear for what? Being able to watch everything on television from backstage? I mean, seriously. This was at a time where Zack Ryder was still really over with the fans, and leave it to John Cena, it seemed like at that time, to suck all the life out of this character and leave it to WWE's creative team and processes to take one of their top, baby faces at the time in terms of being over with the crowd and the audience and completely make him useless. And that's what they've done. And this match here to me was completely useless. This feud between John Cena and Kane, was pretty much completely useless. This match definitely was completely useless. A double countout, whoopee. So that way we were going to get another match. Oh, whoopee, 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 whoopee. At Elimination Chamber, whoopee, whoopee, whoopee. And what a classic that was. Oh, God. And then Drew McIntyre. This was at a time where they were going with the storyline that they never really followed up on. They never really went all the way with. That Drew McIntyre was trying to prove himself. They were having him lose for stupid reasons. And he's like, I want to get into the Royal Rumble. I want to prove myself, Teddy. So he gets booked in a match with Brodus Clay, the Funkasaurus. Now, this was Brodus Clay's pay-per-view debut as the Funkasaurus. And, it was one of these things, man, looking back at the early part of 2012, I was hoping by the time we got to the early part of 2014, we'd be entertaining Brodus Clay as being one of the top baby faces in WWE and being a potential winner of the 2014 Royal Rumble. Of course, the WWE decided to go in the opposite dumb dick direction and have now turned him heel and not followed up on it, and he is in no way a player at all in the company. What a shame. What a shame indeed. And then we get to what I'm sure for most everybody will be their highlight of the night, their match of the night, which was CM Punk versus Dolph Ziggler for the WWE Championship. Personally, to me, it wasn't my flavor, wasn't my cup of tea. At no point in time did I really feel it was going to be any type of way, legitimate or otherwise, that Dolph Ziggler was going to walk out of this match the champion. I just did not. Furthermore, she's back. Furthermore, I just wasn't really a fan of what they were doing with Dolph Ziggler at the time. This was at a time it seemed like, what are you chewing on? It seemed like they were more concerned with trying to get Johnny Ace over than they were with CM Punk, their long-reigning champion. It was more important to them than sitting there and having Dolph Ziggler get over. They were more concerned about getting Vicky Guerrero over. The match itself, I'm sure everybody loves. I really don't care. I didn't care about this match. I didn't care about this feud. I still don't care about Dolph Ziggler, just like I didn't care about him 2 years ago, and that's just the bottom line. It's just funny. It was just one of those many, many pay-per-views during CM Punk's 434-day title reign that he did not main event as WWE Champion. And I don't care what type of dumb dick logic his fans want to use, the WWE wants to use, CM Punk wants to use. It's funny how certain rules only apply some of the time. Oh, the belt should always main event the pay-per-view, except if CM Punk has it. Then it's okay because then he's still the champion and that matters. No. Oh, there's a difference between being the main event and going on last. Well, traditionally in professional wrestling, especially in the WWE, when it comes to pay-per-views, no, bullshit. That's complete bullshit. That's poor logic, and everybody knows it. And when people say that type of dumb stuff, they deserve to be called out on it. And I always find it a bit of a shame. It seemed like CM Punk, so many people thought he was going to represent something, and it was complete and total bullshit. He turned out to be the exact opposite. He turned out to be very much a lot of what he was pretending to be against, which seems to be his hypocrisy and phoniness at the highest order. But it was always a shame to me that it seemed like CM Punk was okay with not main eventing pay-per-views as a long-reigning WWE champion. He carried the belt for over a year, and most pay-per-views he couldn't main event. That's ridiculous. Now we get to the actual Royal Rumble match itself. Some things of note here. They had Miz and Alex Riley start 1 and 2. I still get pissed off when I think about how badly this company screwed the pooch with Alex Riley. Has he been perfect? Hell no. Was he perfect? Hell no. Did he need a lot of work? Sure. Was he green in some ways? Yes. But a lot of these guys in this fucking company need work. Even still, including some of the guys that get featured on TV every week. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Then they go from having A-Ride to having R-Truth. This is the one here where I couldn't really get. You have all these surprise entrance spots open, and 3 of those 30 spots in this Rumble match were used on Michael Cole, Jerry the King Lawler, and Booker T, your 3 commentators. Now, sure, you had the nice mark-out moment for Mick Foley entering in at number 7. It was a really awesome moment when Karma came in. I think it was at like number 21. That was pretty fucking cool, especially with Michael Cole's look on his face and that dumb dick singlet that he wears. That was awesome. But ultimately, this match here, I think a lot of people anticipating going into it where it's assuming that Chris Jericho was going to win this Rumble or Sheamus was going to win this Rumble. Everybody, I think, at that time was assuming one of the two. And most people were assuming that it was going to be Jericho because they were just bringing him in and da-da-da-da-da. Everybody was assuming that it was going to be Jericho. And most everybody thought that this was the right thing to do, was to have Jericho win the Rumble, which I find very ironic now in 2014. Batista is back, and it sounds like he's going to be back for a lengthy run. Yet so many of those same people that were pissed off when Jericho didn't win the Rumble in 2012 because they thought it was stupid, and I understand. I understand why they thought it was stupid. They're now pissed because Batista might win it when you need to establish him. He's just coming back. He's going to be a big player for you for the next couple of years. Why would you not bring him back and bring him back in a big way? Yeah, that's right, Summer. Absolutely. Why would you not do that? I find it funny. A lot of the same people that were pissed off that Jericho didn't win it 2 years ago are now pissed off because it looks like Batista is going to win it in 2014. Now, I was also of the impression to me at that time, I had fun watching this Rumble match in part because I was watching it with the guys, but this was really the only match I can look back on and truly say that I gave much of a shit about, frankly. I was also in favor of Sheamus winning here because, I was still holding hope that it was going to be Sheamus versus Mark Henry for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 28. But you had the young guy here. And there were, to me, for a company that needed to create new stars, here was a chance to create a new star and maybe right some previous wrongs they had done with the Sheamus character. Namely, when he won the belt the first time, he couldn't win clean. Then later on in 2010, he's sitting there running like a bitch to Cena away from the Nexus because he's scared. This big monster scared of fucking Wade Barrett and a bunch of jobber rookies, and that's stupid. This was a chance to rectify a lot of wrongs, and I feel like they did a good job here of doing that. And you knew that they were going to ultimately go with Jericho and Punk at Mania any damn ways. So usually you'll have it set up where the Rumble winner, when they have the two-belt system, the Rumble winner would get one title shot, and the runner-up would usually get the other title shot. Most years, that's how it works out, and that's how it pans out. I do understand and still agree with the train of thought that Jericho should have won here because he loses too much, so it diminishes his significance in terms of when he does put somebody over if he never gets himself over by never winning anything. I get that. But I also get the train of thought here that Sheamus winning was the right thing because he was a younger talent and you're trying to create a new star, and maybe Jericho didn't need it as much as a Sheamus did. I do say that I really like the last 5+ minutes of this Rumble main event. One of the best finishing sequences, I think, in Rumble history because Sheamus and Jericho, there she goes, Sheamus and Jericho had a nice little mini kind of singles match in the heart of the Royal Rumble as the final two participants. But to me, I'm sure a lot of people look at the Ziggler-Punk match as the match of the night. I'm sure a lot of you may think that Daniel Bryan winning was great and all, but I thought what they were doing, his character at the time was stupid. I thought what they were doing with CM Punk was stupid. Dolph Ziggler was stupid. And the Rumble match kind of was the Rumble match, even though it had a really good finishing sequence, and I still agree with the decision of who they had win it in 2012.